Adding target data and managing performance dashboard data. A performance dashboard is made up of qualitative indicators of outcome that are expressed in terms of rates, ratios, and percentages addressing one or more critical variables, all of which contribute to improved business performance and competitiveness. A performance dashboard is built out with leading and lagging performance measures that have been identified as the most important in delivering a positive return on investment for employer collaborative members. After creating a performance dashboard and adding measure sets, host organization and collaborative administrators must include target data for each measure set. To ensure your collaborative is making progress on the performance measures that were identified, target data is set up to help the system gauge progress based on additional data points that will be collected. Target data is required to be added while adding measure sets to a performance dashboard survey. Adding target data and managing performance dashboards is a Strategy 5 web tool feature. Host organization and collaborative administrators have the ability to create and manage performance dashboards. Business administrators have access to view performance dashboards associated with their businesses. To add and manage data for measure sets associated with your performance dashboard, you will access the Performance Dashboard listing by selecting Manage, then Performance Dashboard. You will be directed to a listing of all performance dashboards you have access to. You will find the performance dashboard you are wanting to add target data to and then select the green Edit icon. You will then be directed to Performance Measure Listings. From here, you are able to add target measure data to each measure set. You will start by updating the target data for each aggregate row by selecting the Add Edit Data button. Any target data associated with the aggregate row will trickle down to all the individual business rows that have not had target data added. In this case, it will be all of the individual business rows. This option is provided to allow for flexibility in the event one or more business providers need to have target data that is different than the rest. To start adding your target data, select the Edit button. You will then begin updating the required fields. You will identify if it is a long-term or short-term measure set. Use the radio buttons to identify the term. You will identify if the goal is greater than, less than, or equal to the numerical goal you identify. Use the drop-down and text field to identify the goal. You will identify the frequency for how often you will be collecting data points from the identified data source. The frequency set will be used to trigger notification reminders and auto-send surveys you create that include this performance measure. Use the drop-down to identify the frequency. You will identify the start and end date for when you will be collecting data for this measure set. Use the calendar picker to identify the start and end date. After adding the required target data information, click Save. On the aggregate row, you will also be able to attach contacts. When a contact is added, they will receive notifications regarding this measure set. It can also be referenced later down the road to identify who is responsible for ensuring data is collected for the measure set. To attach a user, click the Attach User button. Then select Add next to the user you would like to associate for this measure set. Once you have selected all users you would like to associate, click Close. The additional performance data table will update anytime data is associated with one or more business-specific rows that fall under the measure set. To get back to the listing of measure sets, click Close. To change the target data for a specific business or provider row, you will select the Add Edit button for that row. Then select the Edit button under the Target Data section. You can then make the necessary changes to the target data. Once you've completed all of your changes, you will click Save. The additional data performance section for businesses and provider-specific rows will also have fields where you can manually enter in data points. The first data point entered for a business or provider is considered the baseline data, the starting point for the performance measure. Any data points entered after that is considered additional data. To manually enter a data point for a business, you will type in the data point in the data point field. Next, you will use the calendar picker to select the date that the data point was collected and the Collected Date field. You will then click the Add Data Point button to add the data points. In addition to the manual process for adding data, the TPM web tool will also offer a performance dashboard survey that automates the data collection process in a survey format to make data collection for your businesses a breeze. Check out the performance dashboard survey videos for more information. To get back to the listing of measure sets, click Close. You have now successfully added target data and learned how to manage performance dashboard data within the TPM web tool. Next, learn how to create a value stream map within your performance dashboard.